Hello and welcome. So today is the second part of our Windows deployment services, and in our previous video we learned about general, we learned about PXE, and we also learned about Active Directory services, that how should it name the computer and how should it join it to the domain and where should it put it. So one other setting that we have here is called boot. So what do you want to do? Whenever computer restarts, do you want the user to press F12 so that they boot to PXE or to the network, or it should always continue to PXE boot? So that is one thing that you can do. So if you choose the first option, users will have to press F12 in order to go to PXE or network boot. So to make it simple, I'm using always continue the PXE for unknown and known computers. Another thing that we have here is Dhcp. So since we already have a Dhcp server configured here on KT-DC01, what we want to do is we want to check this too, because if we don't check it, what will happen is that it will basically conflict with our with the Dhcp server if we have any running on this server. So that's why we are choosing this one. Another one that we have is called Multicast. So on the Multicast it says obtain IP address from Dhcp, or it should use this IP address that we have for the Multicast, so that it will use this range of IP addresses just for what? To basically connect and do the installation and all those kind of things. And then you can also set the transfer settings. So this is like how fast do you want the session to be. So you can configure those things here. And then we have another thing that is Tftp. So on the Tftp, one thing that I want you to make sure is that this port is not there by default. So you have to use like 16384. This is one of the ports that will work. And always make sure that you uncheck this enable variable Windows extension. So this is one thing that you have to make sure. So earlier we had problems. What was happening was that it was not picking up the image. So by changing this port number and unchecking this, it made it work. So that's one thing that you may want to make sure if you run into issues. Alright, so I'll go to install images now. After I go to install images, now I will add my install image. So this will be for my server. So this image will be for the server. You can name it anything that you want depending on for what reason you're using it. So I'll add install.vim, and in here we can choose what we want to add. So we will only add data center core edition. So one edition is what we need. I will say next, and then it will do what? It will add that install image for us, which we copied from the source folder of the CD or ISO for Windows Server 2019. Alright, so after adding that, let's add the boot image. So this boot image is used for boot purpose. Next, okay, this is the server name. If you want to change it, you can. For example, you can say KT server image 2019, like whatever you want. Next, and finish. So this will add the boot image for us. So basically we are adding the image files here so that the computers who are booting up by network, they can detect the WDS and then pick up these image files, and we can install it from there. Let me delete this. I had this created. So now we will do what? We will say new server 2019 child domain. So I will just name it like that. And then in here, what are we installing? We are installing server 2019. Press next. 2 GB RAM is good. Create a new. 50 GB is good. Now it's created. So now I will go to settings. Once I go to settings, in here you will enable this PXE. Once you enable it, bring it up. So this is like boot order. Like if you have installed Windows through flash drive, you always change the boot order to boot from USB, boot from CD. So that's what we are doing here. Press OK, and now we will say start. Once we do start, it should boot from the network and contact. Okay, we are not doing that. Cancel. It should do boot from PXE. So you see now it's doing what? It's booting from PXE. It's trying to contact. Permission denied. Okay, one thing that I forgot. I will power it off. If I go to settings on the network, I have to change it to host only. So I forgot to do that. I will start it now. Okay, now you see it's working. I had to change it to host only. That's why that was the problem, that it wasn't working. So now you can see it's loading file. From where is it loading? 10.10.10.10. Where is 10.10.10? This is 10.10.10.10, and it's getting it from where? boot.vim. Where is boot.vim? Boot.vim is here. So this is the boot.vim that we added. So now it's gonna start the installation. But what's the difference? The difference is that it's installing through WDS server. It's not installing through Flash or through ISO or anything else. So you can see English, US, next. Now it's asking me to authenticate. So kt/administrator and then the password. So it will use this to basically do what? To also join to the domain and do everything else. So you see 50 GB, press next, and then it will do what? It will do the installation. Now the installation begins. So let's wait. Okay, still installing. Alright, finishing up, and now it's gonna restart. Restart now. Alright, so you can see that it just booted up again with the same window. So what I will do is I will send the shutdown signal, and I'll shut this system down. And after I shut it down, what I will do is I will simply go into the settings, system, and then uncheck this network. So it's not gonna boot up from the network anymore. Looks like it was booting up again, that's why. So let's see if it's gonna work. Alright, so you can see that it's basically booting from. It's not booting anymore because it already completed the copying of the file and everything else. Now what it's doing is it's basically doing the installation for us, the rest of the installation or setup for the Windows. So getting device ready, and it will go through some setups, and once it is done, then we will see if it's joined to the domain, and then we have the proper name which we specified. So so if I come here, I go to properties, Active Directory, you see kdsfoc, so it should basically get a name from there, but let's see. And it should also create a computer account under HR. Let's see if it's created. So if we go to Active Directory, we might be able to see it there if it's not too early. So, okay, hi there. Okay, United States, US, and next. We will press next there. License agreement. Okay, administrator password. I will put password. Okay, does not match. Okay, finalizing the setup. Let me go to the HR. Here you go. So KDSFO C1 and C2. You see, if I click here, properties, let's see, operating system. Here, Windows Server 2019 data center. You see, it has added the computer account here for us. And this computer is joined to the domain too. So what we did, we named it automatically, we joined it to the domain, and if you want, you can do more and more with this. You can add applications to your image, you can install drivers, you can do a lot of different things. Alright, so looks like the setup is done. Took a little bit of time. Why? Because we are doing it through VirtualBox, but in real life, where you have like strong network and systems, it shouldn't take that much time. Alright, so this will be our child domain, and in our next lesson what we will do is we will install a child domain, and we will see what child domain is and how to work with it. Correct? So we will see how to work with it. Alright, so now one thing that I will test here for you is I will just do cmd and then I will do hostname. Okay, it's not doing it. Might be because it's slow. Command prompt. Hostname, you can see that KDSFOC2. I didn't give this name to it, but it took it from the WDS settings. So that's how you configure WDS and install operating systems from network.